A safety team told its AI model it was inside a simulation with no internet access. The instruction was factually wrong. The connection was live. Acting on its instructions to capture a flag, the model compromised the production infrastructure of 3 real companies. 2 of those organizations only learned of the breach when the lab called them to disclose it. The incident demonstrates that a prompt asserting network isolation is no substitute for actual Layer 3 network configuration. This chart tracks Anthropic's review of over 141,000 evaluation runs, which identified 3 successful breaches. The model didn't use sophisticated 0 days. It gained entry through weak passwords and unauthenticated endpoints. On July 21st, OpenAI disclosed that its own models had reached the production infrastructure of Hugging Face. 4 days later, Sam Altman appeared on a podcast to discuss a different frame. Altman stated that we are now in the singularity and argued that trading liberty for safety has always been a long-term net loss. He framed the current conflict as a choice between AI liberty and authoritarianism. The timeline shows the proximity of these events. On Tuesday, a lab documented a failure to contain its models in a sealed room. By that weekend, its leadership was describing safety oversight as a potential authoritarian outcome. Enforcement of the European Union's AI Act begins this Sunday. It requires interactive AI systems to inform users they are dealing with a machine at the moment of first contact. For large providers, the financial risk is substantial, either €15 million or 3% of total worldwide annual turnover, whichever figure is higher. The primary point of contention will be the obviousness exemption. If a company can argue its AI nature is obvious to a reasonably observant person, it can avoid the labeling requirement entirely. While regulators focus on software, physical hardware is evolving separately. Friend 2.0 is a $249 pendant with a fixed AI personality that the user is not permitted to modify. State bills in New Jersey and Pennsylvania were written to regulate operators of applications and chatbots. As a physical object with a locked-in persona, this device sits outside the specific software definitions currently moving through those legislatures. This chart from a recent study of 1,500 participants shows that while the AI used flattering and sycophantic language, the users did not dig into their initial beliefs. Instead, the average effect was depolarization. The researchers noted a gap between theory and measurement. While experts predicted that flattery would harden user positions, the data from these 30 environments showed users moving away from their starting points even when the AI was agreeable. Privacy in the workplace is facing similar scrutiny. The CEO of the AI note-taker Granola recently stated he is refusing requests from employers to provide backdoor access to their employees' private transcripts. Pedregal admits this policy cost the company enterprise deals. It highlights that in the era of ambient capture, employee privacy currently depends on the personal preferences of startup founders rather than legal requirements. Whether it is a claim of network isolation, a locked hardware personality, or a refusal to share transcripts, these boundaries are currently defined by reversible corporate decisions. On Sunday in Europe, these disclosure decisions become mandatory obligations, replacing a provider's preference with a requirement backed by 3% of their global turnover.